Good afternoon, grade nines. Now, today I'm going to introduce you to your advisory project. This is going to be the grade 9 career exploration project. Over the next couple of weeks, you're going to choose one career that interests you, research it properly using Maya, and become a mini expert in that career. You will then create a career fact sheet that can be shared with the rest of the grade. So the purpose of this is not to make you decide on your whole future now at all. You're not choosing your career for life. The purpose is just to help you begin connecting your interests, your strengths, subjects, and experiences to real possibilities in the world beyond school. So in simple terms, you'll choose a career, research it in Maya, create your fact sheet, and then share it as part of our grade-wide career exhibition. This project should help you learn about real jobs and pathways, but it should also help you to build important skills, research, reflection, organisation and communication. So remember the key message here. You are not choosing your future forever. You're just exploring ideas, and then later on you'll be learning some ideas from other students in grade 9 as well in that exhibition. Your first step is choosing the career you want to research. You have already spent some time in Maya exploring careers, and many of you have looked at 3 possible careers before. For this project, you can just choose one of those careers, one of those 3 that you've been looking at. Or you can choose a completely different one altogether, and that's absolutely fine too. However, there are some important rules though. First, you must choose your career from Maya. Maya is also where your research will begin, because you've already used it, and this project builds on work that you have already started. That's the idea, not to give you too much extra work, but build on what you've already been doing. Second, no career can be repeated within the advisory class. So I don't want 3 separate economists in one class. All right. So that the idea is in each advisory class, you've all got your own individual different careers that you're looking for. So for example, if one student has chosen architecture and another student in the same advisory should not choose architect. Advisors, can you please check what students have selected before they begin properly so that we can get a good variety of careers across each advisory group? Another thing is for students to be specific. So it's really important that you don't choose a career that's too general. Instead of simply, for example, choosing a career like lawyer and so on, think, what type of lawyer? A criminal lawyer, or a human rights lawyer, or a corporate lawyer, or even an environmental lawyer, and so on. So instead of just choosing, for example, again, an engineer, think what type? Aerospace, or civil engineer, or environmental engineer, or software engineer, mechanical, and just basically find something or a type where you're going to be very specific in the job description itself. The more specific that you are, the better the research will eventually be. I also needed to mention on that last slide, it's an individual project. So you're not working in pairs or groups. And so everyone will make their own individual fact sheet, because you are going to be given enough advisory time for you to be able to complete it. Okay, so let's move on to what to include in your career fact sheet. So your task is to create this fact sheet, and it should explain your chosen career clearly to somebody else who may not really know very much about that particular career. Your fact sheet needs to include 5 sections. So the first one is what does this career involve? This should explain your chosen career clearly to somebody else. Explain the role. What are the main responsibilities? What problems do they solve? Who do they work with? What kind of work do they produce or contribute to? Second, a day in the life. So what might a normal working day look like for someone in this career? What tasks may they get up to in the morning, during the day, and towards the end of the day? This helps make the career feel a little bit more real, not just like a job title itself. Now, if you find it easier just to come up with a list of activities that you want to share that this career does or this job does, then yes, that's also possible to do as well. Just basically get creative. What stuff do they do? That's really what we're looking for. The third thing to include is pathways and qualifications. So in Maya, you'll find a pathways section. You might find it easier to explain it in terms of what qualifications are needed to start this career. Explain how someone will qualify for this career. What subjects might they find useful in school, and then what university courses or training or apprenticeships or degrees or licenses or any other pathways might be needed to start working in this job. Some careers have one clear, very defined route. However, there are some other careers where there are several possible routes to get into it. So try and show that clearly in some way in your fact sheet if that's a career that has kind of squiggly pathways to get to the job. Fourth of all, we've got skills and experiences to develop now. So this is one of the most important parts because you're not just literally using information and regurgitating it and copying it from Maya onto the page. This one is actually requiring you to think a little bit. Think about where you are as a student, what skills that you have, and then what skills you would need to keep on and experiences that you'd need to keep on developing if you were to go into the particular job or the role that you're looking at. Okay, so that means you need to, don't just say I need to work hard, be specific. Would this career need communication or creativity or leadership or problem solving or research or coding or teamwork or organization, public speaking, design skills, scientific thinking, writing, or something else? There's so many things that can go towards a skill towards a specific job. Choose what those are, find out what those things that you don't have to be able to do that job, and then maybe highlight some ideas of how you could actually be doing those skills, working on those skills or on that knowledge to be ready for that job. Okay? Think about how you could build on those skills now, like in grade 9 and going into grade 10, through your subjects, through clubs, through service. Is there something some sort of volunteering that you could do, or competitions or reading or projects or any other experiences? So all of these things are things that you could be looking at what you can do within the school or beyond the school to get you closer to that job. And the final thing to include on the fact sheet is role models or interesting people or famous people within the job or role. So try to include at least one role model in the career. It could be a famous person, a professional in the field, someone local, someone from your country that you know, or someone else whose career journey has been interesting that you've spoken to. It could be even somebody in your family as well, or somebody who you spoke to when you did that homework piece that we got you to do a few weeks ago. Explain why they are a useful or an inspiring example as well. Another grade 9 student should be able to learn something from your work. So here's the timeline for the project. Today is the 11th of May. You're watching this video, you're being introduced to the task, you should understand what you're being asked to do, what the required sections are, and what the final exhibition is working towards. Now, on the 12th, 13th, and the 14th, you'll have time this week in advisory to choose your career, research it in Maya, plan your fact sheet, and begin creating your work. The following week, that will give you time that if you need on this project to finish up individually, to finish and refine, there can be time given for that as well. So that gives you 2 weeks until our final deadline. And our final deadline is when you return on that third week, really, which is the 26th of May. By the 26th of May, this must be completely finished, not half finished, not nearly done, but finished, absolutely done. Your fact sheet should be 100% complete and ready to be displayed for our grade-wide career exhibition. Remember the key roles as you plan your time. Choose your career from Maya. Make sure no career is repeated in your advisory class. Be specific rather than general and complete your own individual project. So, a quick one on how to research your career in Maya. Maya, as I've said, is your main tool for this project, so do use it carefully. Start by logging into Maya using your school login, then find your career. Use your career search bar or browse the career categories to locate the career that you've chosen, or simply even find your careers that you've got in your list already. Maya should be your starting point and main source. You may add other credible sources if you want, go deeper, check things on the internet just to add a little bit more if it helps you. But that's only after you've spent and done most of the research in Maya. So things such as official websites, government sites, professional organizations, industry reports, or trusted news sources, but begin with Maya. And as you research, take notes. Organize them under these 5 fact sheet sections: what they do, day in the life of or activities, pathways and qualifications, skills and experiences, and role models. Before you start, create the final version. Check that you have enough information for all 5 sections and ask yourself, could somebody else learn about this career from my fact sheet? You can create your fact sheet using almost any format. So you could use Google Sheets, PowerPoint, Canva, Pages, Google Docs, even pen and paper. And soon you're going to see an example with pen and paper, one being made in Pages and another one in Google Slides in a second. Remember, the work you produce will become part of our grade-wide career exhibition. Think of it a little like an art exhibition, but instead of walking around and looking at artwork, you'll walk around and learn about different careers. You'll see what other students have researched, compare different pathways, discover careers you had not thought about before, and learn from each other. So the final exhibition becomes a learning career journey across the grade. So good luck, grade 9. Use the time well, ask good questions, and enjoy exploring where your interests may take you.